Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good evening, Madam Speaker.
Good evening, Representative.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I've been listening to this debate, and Representative Kara-Pavalak just touched upon an area that is very important to me as a physician, and knowing the limitations of a lot of people. I just want to go through with the good chair some of my concerns that I have in moving this legislation forward. Through you, Madam Speaker.
Please proceed, sir.
Through you, Madam Speaker, very beginning of the amendment, line 7, use or manufacture any rate of fire enhancement. Through you, Madam Speaker, do we have a list of what all those various devices are or could be that would be considered increasing the rate of fire enhancement? Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Tong.
Through you, Madam Speaker, I do not have a list.
Representative Srinivasan.
So through you, Madam Speaker, if the good chair does not have a list, who then decides as to whether that particular device is considered a device that increased the rate of fire enhancement? Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Tong.
Through you, Madam Speaker, as I answered previously to Representative Pavlak-Diamato, if someone were prosecuted in this state for a violation of this statute, then the finder of fact would determine whether a rate of fire enhancement was used.
Representative Srinivasan.
So through you, Madam Speaker, if I understand that clearly in non-legal language, it means that the person using this would be clueless as to whether it could be something for which they could be prosecuted. Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Tong.
Through you, Madam Speaker, no, I don't think that's what I said. I did not indicate that the person would be clueless. I think it's fairly clear on the face of this statute, but also given all of the news coverage about bump stocks, what is meant by this statute, and that something that causes a rate of fire higher than normal because of the use of an accessory would be banned. So I don't think it's fair to say that someone would be clueless. Ultimately, legal liability would attach if the fact finder determined that the statute had been violated and all the elements of the statute had been satisfied, and that liability should attach. Through you.
Representative Srinivasan.
Through you, Madam Speaker, I definitely understand that part, that because of all the publicity, unfortunately, that happened in Las Vegas, all of this obviously has received a lot of attention. Things that we didn't even know about or hear about, at least not me, about even such a thing existed. But my question is that when people, constituents of ours, use their guns, do they not need to know what is it that they cannot use? Because if they were to use that, it increases the rate of enhancement, and hence, if this were to move forward, that would be something that could result in a Class D felony. Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Tong.
Through you, Madam Speaker, I think we have an obligation to draft statutes that are sufficiently clear and understandable on their face. Otherwise, they're void for vagueness. That's a constitutional standard. I don't think that this statute comes anywhere near that. This statute is sufficiently clear. It provides a number of descriptions at lines 14 through 22. It provides examples such as bump stocks or trigger cranks or binary triggers. And so I think that there is more than a constitutional level of notice to people of what's lawful and unlawful. Through you.
Representative Srinivasan.
Madam Speaker, both the chairman and I have the good fortune of serving on Judiciary Committee. And I'm sure the good chairman recalls the long public hearing we had on bump stocks related issue and other gun related issues. Long day into a long night. And through you, Madam Speaker, we were informed very clearly by people who came to testify that one could use simple things as a rubber band. We could use something like the loop of a belt, and that could increase the rate of enhancement. And so that is why I'm a little concerned and perturbed with this legislation, because we need to know what is it that constituents can use and what is it that they cannot use. Because just saying that you cannot use a certain list of things because they increase the rate of the rate of enhancement, but there are others that could be usually used as well. So through you, Madam Speaker, are we even suggesting things like rubber bands, loops of belts, and the like that could increase the rate of enhancement? Would they be considered? Would they be looked at as something that is inappropriate if this bill were to move forward? Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Tong.
Through you, Madam Speaker, no, of course we don't mean to cover belts or rubber bands, because when we draft statutes and read statutes, we don't read them to produce absurd results. Through you.
Representative Srinivasan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank the good chair for that answer, because I was very concerned, because we did hear that loud and clear, if memory serves me right, more than one testimony where it could be used. And now I'm glad to hear that if those were to be used, if I hear the good chairman clearly, they would not be considered as enhancements. And I just want to make sure I'm clear on that. Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Tong.
Through you, yes, you're clear.
Representative Srinivasan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm sure the good chairman is very familiar with the term match triggers. And these, Madam Speaker, as you know, are things that can be attached so that the rate of pull, which typically for a trigger pull is in the ballpark of about 4 to 8 pounds, could be reduced to 4 pounds to make it easier to pull the trigger. Through you, Madam Speaker, would such match triggers be allowed if this were to move forward? Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Tong.
Through you, Madam Speaker, I'm not as familiar with match triggers, if that's the correct term that Representative Srinivasan used, but if a match trigger fits the definitions set forth at lines 14 through 22, then it would be covered. Through you.
Representative Srinivasan.
Through you, Madam Speaker, what a match trigger does is the trigger pull does not have to be an 8-pound pull. It could be reduced to 4 pounds. So obviously, it is a little easier to pull that trigger. So would such match triggers be considered increasing the rate of enhancement? Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Tong.
Through you, Madam Speaker, based on Representative Srinivasan's description, I don't see how such a match trigger would fit the definition set forth in 14 through 22 of the amendment. Through you.
Representative Srinivasan.
Through you, Madam Speaker, so such a match trigger which would reduce the weight, as I said, is used in what I've read about it and in preparation for tonight's debate. Through you, Madam Speaker, for those people who are into competition. So competitive shooting, obviously, is very critical, how agile you are and how quick you are, and that's when such match triggers are used. Through you, Madam Speaker, according to what I just heard the good chairman recently, that those triggers, competitive shooting, could be used because it does not change the rate of enhancement, of firing. Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Tong.
Through you, Madam Speaker, I would agree based on the description provided by Representative Srinivasan. Through you.
Representative Srinivasan.
Through you, Madam Speaker, I was a little bit distracted, so could the good chair just repeat that, if you don't mind? Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Tong, could you please repeat your answer?
Through you, I agree.
Representative Srinivasan.
Thank you. So that's easy. I didn't realize, that's why I didn't hear what he said. So through you, Madam Speaker, going back to my concern of of individuals who have physical disabilities in terms of arthritis, severe arthritis. And so the trigger pull obviously is important for them. And changing that weight from the 4 pounds, from the 8 pounds to the 4 pounds through a match trigger would be something that those individuals could continue to use through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Tong.
Yes, through you.
Representative Srinivasan.
Through you, Madam Speaker, and my final question is, if an individual is of a very short stature and because of that and physical limitations, not because of arthritis, but just does not have the power to pull those triggers and can use these match triggers to do so, they could continue to do so even if this legislation moves forward. Through you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Tong.
Yes, through you.
Representative Srinivasan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank the good chair for his answers. Thank you.